Welcome back, everyone, to the Complete Aviation Solutions Deep Dive. We have a lot to cover today, so let's jump right in.
Yeah, it looks like a pretty busy week in the world of aviation.
Absolutely. Let's start with Maldivian Airlines. They've decided to sell one of their de Havilland DHC-8 aircraft.
A DHC.
Yep. Seems like they're inviting bids on it until February 28th. Interestingly, the transaction has to be done in U.S. dollars.
Huh, that is interesting.
This isn't their first rodeo either. They sold another Dash 8 just last year.
So it seems like they're trying to move away from the Dash 8s as part of a fleet renewal.
That's right. Looks like they're replacing them with ATR aircraft, specifically for their domestic flights.
And I'm seeing here that they're expecting a brand new ATR to arrive next month.
Wow, that's a pretty quick turnaround, but it doesn't stop there. Maldivian is also looking to acquire a second Airbus A330-200.
An A330, that's a big step up for them.
Definitely. Their first A330 really opened up their long-haul options, allowing them to launch direct flights to 3 destinations in China.
Makes sense. So it seems they're keen on expanding further in the long-haul market. Ambitious.
It is. They're looking at a 5-year operating lease on an A330 with both economy and business class cabins.
Sounds like they're trying to attract a broader range of international travelers.
Definitely a sign of their growth aspirations.
Mhm.
And they've clearly put their money where their mouth is. I mean, we're talking about USD 70 million in refurbishments and a whopping USD 140 million on those new ATR aircraft.
That's a serious investment. So they're currently operating 25 aircraft, serving destinations in India, China, and of course, within the Maldives. It'll be fascinating to see how this expansion plays out.
Absolutely. But while Maldivian is charging full steam ahead, another airline is dealing with some, let's say, turbulence.
Oh, who are we talking about?
Emirates. It seems like they're bracing themselves for even more delays with their Boeing 777X deliveries.
Oh, not those delays again. Those have been going on forever. What's the latest?
Well, sources inside Emirates are saying they don't expect deliveries until the second quarter of 2027.
2027. That's pushing it pretty far out.
And it could even be as late as 2028.
Oof, that's got to be frustrating. Especially considering Boeing publicly stated that deliveries would start in 2026.
Yeah, bit of a discrepancy there. And this is hitting Emirates particularly hard.
Oh, right. They're the biggest 777X customer.
By far. They have 35 B777X and a whopping 170 B777-DATs on order.
Wow, 170. Their original delivery date was supposed to be back in 2020.
Yeah, it's been a long wait. And Emirates President Tim Clark has been pretty vocal about his disappointment.
Understandably so. These delays throw a wrench in their entire operational strategy.
Absolutely. They've had to find ways to keep their fleet competitive while they wait. They've even resorted to investing USD 4 billion to revamp the cabins in their older B777-300ERs and A380-800s.
That's a smart move, but also an expensive one. They're basically trying to bridge the gap until the new planes arrive.
Exactly. And, Clark isn't letting Boeing off the hook that easily.
Ugh, what's he doing?
He's seeking compensation for the delays. He even suggested Boeing could potentially cover some of those refurbishment costs.
Makes sense. They've been put in a tough spot.
Speaking of tough spots, have you heard about Ryanair's latest move?
Ryanair. Always up to something. What have they done now?
They're making a big move with engine maintenance. They're bringing it in-house.
In-house. That's a bold move for an airline, especially one as large as Ryanair.
It is, and it comes with a hefty price tag. We're talking USD 600 million.
600 million? That's a huge investment.
Yeah, and they're planning to spend it over the next 5 to 10 years, building new engine shops and everything.
So why the sudden shift? What's driving this decision?
CEO Michael O'Leary believes it just makes good financial sense, especially with all the supply chain problems the industry's been facing.
I could see that.
They have about 200 engines in maintenance at any given time. And with their fleet constantly expanding, that number's only going up.
So they're taking control of the situation. Interesting.
Yeah, they're looking at building new engine shops, potentially one in Western Europe and one in Eastern Europe.
Sounds like a long-term plan.
It is. They could announce construction within the next 12 months. But even then, it might take another 3 to 4 years before those shops are up and running.
It's a big commitment, but if they pull it off, it could give them a significant advantage in the long run.
Definitely. It'll be interesting to see how this plays out.
For sure. It seems every airline is tackling these challenges in their own way. But while some are grappling with supply chain issues, others are focusing on something completely different, keeping their customers happy.
Oh, you mean Korean Air?
Bingo! They've just hit a major milestone.
You're talking about their top ranking in the Global Customer Satisfaction Index.
The one and only. They've clinched the top spot for the 18th year in a row.
Wow, 18 years. That's
Mhm.
incredible, especially considering all the turbulence the airline industry has faced recently.
It really is a testament to their dedication to the passenger experience.
What's their secret?
Well, they've placed a strong emphasis on hygiene and safety, particularly during the pandemic.
That makes sense. Passengers are definitely prioritizing health and safety these days.
Exactly. So they implemented things like cabin disinfection, contactless check-in, and social distancing measures.
Smart moves.
Mm,
But it wasn't just about safety, was it?
nope. They also made sure to restore and even upgrade their in-flight services. More meal options, better beverage selections, you name it.
So they focused on both the practical and the enjoyable aspects of flying.
Absolutely. They recognize that the whole travel experience matters. And they've also been investing heavily in IT to smooth things out for their passengers.
What kind of things?
Well, they've digitized travel documents, automated airport lounge entry, and even started providing baggage loading notifications.
Wow, all those little things can really make a difference. It's like they're trying to anticipate and address every potential pain point in the travel journey.
Exactly. They're going above and beyond to make things as smooth as possible. And that's not all. They're also leading the charge in sustainability.
That's right. They've been introducing eco-friendly aircraft and were the first Korean airline to start using sustainable aviation fuel.
A big win for the environment and for their image.
Definitely. So we've covered a lot of ground today, from fleet renewals and long-haul ambitions to supply chain headaches and a relentless focus on customer satisfaction. It's clear that there's no one-size-fits-all solution for success in the aviation industry.
Absolutely. Each airline is navigating its own unique set of challenges and opportunities, and it's fascinating to see how their strategies are evolving in response to these dynamic market conditions.
It really highlights the adaptability and resilience of this industry. But with so much change happening, I can't help but wonder, what does all of this mean for the future of air travel?
That's a great question, and one we'll explore further in just a moment. Stay with us.
So what do you think? Looking at these airlines, do you think one of these strategies is more likely to succeed than the others?
It's tough to say definitively which strategy will win out in the end. It's so complex. But I do think those airlines that can adapt quickly to change will fare better in the long run. The aviation industry is in constant flux, so if you can't anticipate and adapt to those shifts well, you're going to be left behind.
Okay, so you're saying it's not necessarily about picking the right strategy, it's more about how well you can execute any strategy and change course as needed.
Exactly. Look at Maldivian Airlines. Sure, their move towards long haul is ambitious, but it's also pretty risky. It all hinges on more than just getting some new planes.
Like what kinds of things?
Marketing and branding, they have to attract those international travelers. Partnerships, too. They'll need to work with other airlines and tourism people to make those seamless travel experiences. And of course, they can't forget about costs. Got to make sure they can actually make money in this competitive market.
Execution is key. What about Emirates? What do you think is going to happen with them?
Emirates. Well, they're dealing with a whole different set of challenges. Those 777X delays are a major setback, but they are showing that they're willing to try new things, like investing in their current fleet and trying to come up with some workarounds.
Right, like that $4 billion to revamp the cabins we talked about.
Exactly. But the question is, how long can they keep that up without it hurting their profits?
Yeah, good point. It's interesting to compare their approach to Ryanair's. Both have supply chain issues, but they've decided on totally opposite ways of handling it.
Right. Ryanair's gone and done some vertical integration, trying to take control by handling things themselves, hoping to save money and make things more efficient in the process. It's a bold move.
Super bold,
Hmm.
especially for a low-cost airline like them where they're watching every penny.
Definitely. Their success all comes down to whether they can manage this transition without a hitch and keep their in-house maintenance running like a well-oiled machine.
So execution is everything again.
Pretty much, yeah. Now, what about Korean Air? Their focus on customer satisfaction has gotten them amazing results, but can they keep that up in such a fast-changing environment?
Well, they have been doing it for 18 years.
That's true. 18 years is impressive. But they have to watch out for complacency. They can't just rest on their past achievements.
Right, they got to keep pushing the envelope and find new ways to impress their passengers.
Yep, they've set a high bar for themselves. Ongoing staff training, constant improvement of their digital stuff, staying ahead of the curve on sustainability. It's a lot to juggle.
It's like they're running a marathon but trying to keep up a sprint the whole way.
Good analogy. So Korean Air deserves all the praise, but the real challenge is keeping that going.
Absolutely. All right, let's zoom out a bit. We've talked about these individual airlines, but what do you think all of this means for the future of air travel in general? Say in like 10 or 20 years.
So many possibilities. One thing I think we'll see is more focus on sustainability. Airlines are getting pressure to reduce their environmental impact, and it's only going to increase.
So you're thinking innovation in things like fuel efficiency and even alternative fuels.
Absolutely. There's already investment happening in sustainable fuels and electric and hybrid planes, early days yet, but this stuff could really revolutionize the industry over the next few decades.
That is exciting to think about. What other big changes do you see?
More personalization of the travel experience. Think of it, airlines using all that data and AI to really tailor their services to what each individual passenger wants.
So instead of everyone getting the same treatment, airlines will offer different things based on your past trips, your preferences, even stuff happening in real time.
Exactly. Imagine it your own personalized entertainment, special meals just for you, and proactive help if your flight's disrupted.
Now that would be amazing. Sounds like air travel in the future is going to be incredibly sophisticated. Any other trends you can see developing?
Well, with demand for air travel going up, particularly in those developing countries, I wouldn't be surprised to see a lot of investment in airport infrastructure.
You mean like new airports being built, expanding capacity at existing ones?
Definitely. And maybe even new ways of running them to handle all those extra passengers.
Wow, so it's not just the planes themselves that are changing, it's everything around them too.
That's it. Everything's changing. How we book flights, how we get around airports, what it's like to fly, how airlines do business. Technology, expectations, and the global economy are all going to play a part.
It's a pretty exciting time to be watching this industry then. Talking about the future, I got to ask about supersonic and hypersonic travel. Do you think this stuff is ever going to be something everyone can use?
Ah, that's the million-dollar question. While the tech is there are still some major hurdles to overcome.
Like what?
Well, first off, it's expensive. These planes are costly to develop and run, so tickets would be way out of reach for most people.
So unless there's some big breakthrough that makes it cheaper, supersonic and hypersonic flights are going to stay a luxury for the super rich.
Yeah, that's possible. There's also the environmental impact. Supersonic flights create those sonic booms, and that can be a real problem for communities on the ground.
And don't forget the regulations.
Oh, right, of course. Many countries have rules about supersonic flights over land. So unless those rules change or someone figures out how to deal with those sonic booms, there won't be many places these planes can actually fly.
It sounds like while there's a lot of potential, there are also big challenges, technological, financial, environmental, and regulatory, before supersonic and hypersonic travel can become something normal people can do.
That's a fair point, but I wouldn't totally rule it out either. The aviation industry is good at coming up with innovative solutions.
So while we might not be zipping around at supersonic speeds anytime soon, it could still happen eventually.
Exactly. The aviation industry has a history of surprising us. Things that seemed impossible before, like jet travel, eventually become commonplace. Who knows what the future holds?
Well said. And that's what makes following the aviation industry so interesting. It's constantly pushing boundaries and achieving what once seemed impossible. It's amazing to think about how far we've come since those early days of flight.
Yeah, from the Wright brothers to jumbo jets. And who knows what's next?
That's what makes this industry so captivating. There's always that sense of wonder and possibility.
Yeah.
What do you think when people board a plane 20, 30 years from now? What will that experience be like?
Well, who knows for sure, but it's fun to speculate. Maybe we'll all be flying in those sleek hypersonic jets, sipping cocktails as we zoom across continents in a matter of hours.
Right.
Or perhaps we'll be beamed up Star Trek style.
Beam me up, Scotty. I like the sound of that. But even if we never quite reach those levels of sci-fi travel, I think it's safe to say that the future of aviation will be shaped by sustainability, personalization, and a relentless pursuit of efficiency.
Definitely. Those are the big trends we're seeing today, and they're only going to become more prominent in the years to come. But there's something else I think is important to remember.
What's that?
The human element. Amidst all technological advancements and talk of efficiency, let's not forget that aviation is ultimately about people. It's about connecting individuals, families, and communities across vast distances. It's about fostering global understanding, enabling trade and commerce, and creating memories that last a lifetime.
Couldn't agree more. It's those human stories, those connections that make this industry so special. And it's something we should always keep in mind as we look to the future of air travel.
Exactly. So the next time you find yourself at an airport, Take a moment to soak it all in, watch the planes take off and land, listen to the multilingual announcements, observe the diverse crowds of passengers from all walks of life. You're witnessing a microcosm of our interconnected world, a testament to the power of human ingenuity and collaboration.
Well said. And remember, the future of aviation is in our hands. It's up to all of us, passengers, industry professionals, policymakers, to shape it in a way that benefits both humanity and our planet.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining us on the Complete Aviation Solutions Deep Dive. It's been a fascinating journey. Until next time, happy travels, and may all your flights be smooth and filled with wonder.